Okay, so this is definitely going to take some getting used to, and we're going to see how this works. But here's a video for 9-1, first section of chapter 9, finally into circles. Yay! The first thing that we need to go over is make sure that you guys know the vocabulary and the different parts of the circles. Hopefully, you know some of them. Some of them should be pretty self explanatory, unless you're not paying attention back in sixth grade, in which case, sucks to be you. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a circle. And if you, like me, are not super awesome at drawing circles by yourself, use something to make one. I would rather have a nice looking circle so that we can use the vocabulary on it and do it nicely than have a wonky circle and not know what we're talking about. Okay, main thing, the first thing, is that anytime you have a circle, it will be named. It must be named, and it's going to be named. You're going to see a dot. If you don't see a dot in the middle there, then it has not been named yet. You can put a dot there, and whichever point you put in there, whatever letter it is, that is going to be the name of the circle. So if we have P in here, and for some odd reason they use P quite frequently for circles, this would then be known as circle P. And we write that just how it is drawn here. So we write that using a little circle, putting a dot in it, and putting P next to it. Circle P. Okay. Some things, like I said, hopefully you should know by from previous math classes. Big main thing, center of the circle. There's a lot that goes on in the center of the circle. Okay. The center of the circle, once again, just makes the center of the circle is equidistant from each point on the circle. Okay, so make sure that's a big one that you have there. The next thing that we're going to go over are the things that hopefully you do recognize. One of them is having a point that goes from the middle of the circle to any point outside of the circle, going halfway through. So if I were to take a straight edge here, and put it to one point on the end. One other point there, doesn't matter where, just as long as it is halfway through. Let's say I am going to label that one A. Hopefully remember that this is called a radius, and I'm going to label it here. Radius. That is halfway through a circle. So that goes through the center of the circle and has one end, the other end point on the circle. Doesn't matter in which direction it is, as long as it is going through the center point there. The next vocabulary word that we have is diameter. Hopefully you remember that one. Once again, goes through the center of the circle, but its endpoints are both on the circle. So one endpoint here, and I'll make that B. One endpoint here, I'll make that C. And this is our diameter. It goes all the way through the center. Of course, as I am doing this and writing these notes down, hopefully you are copying these notes as well. And let's see how this goes. So we've got circle. We talked about the center of the circle. We talked about radius and diameter. The next vocabulary term that you will see is called a chord. A chord has its two end points, is a segment that goes through the circle with both end points on the circle, but does not go through the center. So let's say I'm going to use end point B again, and I am now going to make a straight edge over here to the side, but does not go through the center. Doesn't go through the center here. That is called a chord. Another part of a circle. C-H-O-R-D. A chord. Okay, now that we have the different parts of the actual circle down, I want to make sure that we remember some of these formulas. The formula for finding some of these things are as follows. We have our radius. Nope, radius is half the circle. I want to go over diameter. Diameter, as long as you know what the radius is already, okay, the diameter is 2 times that radius. So we're just going to put 2r. So you can have d equals 2r for that one. The other way around, if you know what the diameter is and you actually need the radius, you know the diameter, you need the radius, you can do it the other way. So the radius would then equal half of that diameter. Again, hopefully that is familiar to us. The next formula I want to make sure that we have is the distance formula inside of a circle. In case you were asked to find the distance on a coordinate grid. You can use the distance formula to write an equation for a circle given its center and its radius. So we will use that. The distance formula is also on page 411 in your textbook. It is the one banner that you will be writing down from this section. And I want to make sure that you understand how to get to it. So, in general, if you are given the diameter of your circle and the point on a coordinate grid where the center of your circle is, you will be able to find the distance around that circle. So let's try that. In general, an equation for a circle with center HK. Depending on what I'll use a different color. So distance formula for a circle. If your center point is HK, then your distance formula is as follows. As long as you also have a radius is R. The equation for said circle would then be AX minus H squared plus Y minus K squared equals R squared. And that is writing an equation for that circle. Okay, a couple of the things about circles that I want to make sure that we go over. We have our radius, diameter, and chord. If a chord, like I said, a chord is a segment that has its endpoints on the circle. If that segment extends in both directions, so let's say we have a line that goes through our circle, a line that goes through our circle, which means I would have arrows on both sides. I do have 2 points on there, but that is not the end of our line. Extends. That is then called a tangent. A line that goes through the circle, not going through. Totally wrong on that one. Dang, that sucks. Totally wrong on that one. That is not a tangent. If a line goes through a circle, doesn't go through the center, but continues through, that is actually called a secant. My bad. My apologies. It is called a secant. A line that intersects a circle at 2 points. Line intersecting circle at 2 points. Sorry about that, folks. Now, let's go back. If I have a line that intersects a circle at exactly 1 point, boop, like so. Line intersects with a circle at exactly 1 point, like point T. That is a tangent. that is a tangent. Line intersecting a circle at exactly one point. Exactly one point. And honestly, I think that's all we're going to do for today. Tune in next time.